What is up, everybody? Ethan back today with a album review, and what I've got today is a really good album. This is an album I love. One I didn't really know of for the longest time. I would say kind of more obscure, perhaps. I think a lot of people probably know it, but I myself personally didn't know of this band until a couple of years ago. But this is an album, a debut album by an American band released October 17th in 1973. This is Montrose, self-titled. Really cool album cover, art, picture of the band there, album picture. There's the back as well. I got this for $4 a couple years ago at a used record shop. And man, let me tell you, this is a great, great hard rock album. Um, well, let's get into the lineup. So, Montrose, the guitarist, Ronnie Montrose. There's him right there, Ronnie Montrose. And you got Bill Church on bass, and the guy named Denny Carmassi on drums. And this guy right here is none other than a very young Sam Hagar. Yeah, that's Sam Hagar. Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. There he is right there. About 25 years old at the time of recording. 24 maybe. Yeah, and what a performance he gives. Like I said, later known for Van Halen. And I'll be honest, I've never been a big fan of Sammy Hagar and Van Halen. Some good songs, it's whatever, good radio hits, whatever. Never done much for me. That being said, and this might be controversial, I've never been the hugest Van Halen fan. They have some great songs. I like some of their songs, Running with the Devil, Mean Street, some of that stuff. Atomic Punk, those are great songs. But I've never been the biggest Van Halen fan. This is more my alley. Sammy Hagar, he was known as Sam Hagar then, but Sammy Hagar now. He is phenomenal on this album. Wow, he is singing up a storm. And the guitar tone from Ronnie Montrose, heavy, crunchy, just bluesy Les Paul guitar. This is just meat and potatoes rock. You may, heard that term before. I think that's just a good way to describe this album. A great rhythm section. The drummer, Denny Carmassi, is great. I believe he went on to become more famous as well. Ronnie Montrose, the main songwriter, guitar player, band leader, the album and band is named after him. So, there were some creative control issues later on that eventually led to the demise of this lineup because Ronnie Montrose kind of had an ego clash with Sammy Hagar. That kind of thing happens in a lot of these bands, and they imploded, broke up, and kind of ceased to exist as a band anymore. But this, their first album, man, what a debut. It kicks off with a song called Rock the Nation. That's how you start an album. I mean, punches you right in the face with heavy guitar tones. I believe Ronnie Montrose played a Les Paul. You get that heavy, bluesy, proto-metal kind of just guitar, drums, and singing over the top. And Sammy Hagar is killing it on this song. And this whole album, really. He sounds phenomenal. I prefer this style of Sammy Hagar as opposed to like I said earlier, I don't want to become redundant, but the later Van Halen stuff. And this is a good 13 years before he even joined Van Halen. So he was an unknown at the time. And what a vocal debut this album is. And then you have a song called Bad Motor Scooter. Really great song. Just kind of has a hard charging. Some of these songs are very speedy too. Let me get some water. Bad Motor Scooter, just a great song. I believe it was released as a single. And then you have a really kind of dreamy, proggy song called Space Station Number 5, but it gets real heavy kind of in the back end. Some great drumming, some great guitar work, again from Ronnie Montrose. And then to finish off side one, you have I Don't Want It, which is a shorter song, but man, it's got a great guitar lick in the beginning, riff, lick, whatever you want to call it, from Ronnie Montrose. So those first four songs on side one, what a killer side to a vinyl. Rock the Nation, Bad Motor Scooter, Space Station Number 5, and I Don't Want It. Just a perfect side one. All four of those songs are heavy. There's no ballads, there's no slow moments. They're all pure rock and roll and heavy proto metal. I mean, this, I'm looking at Wikipedia, and the genre is hard rock, heavy metal, and blues rock. I would consider this album a American proto metal album. It's not metal in the sense of like Metallica, Slayer, none of that. But for an American band in 1973, you had in England over the pond, you had Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, and to some extent, Budgie and Led Zeppelin. I don't really consider Led Zeppelin a metal band, but they're very heavy for the early 70s. All those are British bands, though. This is probably one of the first heavy American albums. And later you'd get, Ted Nugent, Aerosmith. Aerosmith had not become heavy by this point, so this really predates, for the American scene, hard rock and heavy metal, predates a lot of those kind of proto-metal American albums. So you could argue that this is the first kind of American hard rock heavy metal album. Again, more hard rock, I think, than heavy metal. The lyrics certainly are in a hard rock vein. They're not, menacing, scary, or satanic like a Black Sabbath. So they're not traditional heavy metal in that sense. But as far as the heaviness, the guitar and the singing, very much a proto-metal kind of American precursor to Van Halen band, an album, if you will. Anyway, that's a tangent. Side two, you have a cover called Good Rockin' Tonight. Probably my least favorite song on the album, but still a phenomenal cover. And Ronnie Montrose's guitar solo in that, killer. The song, best part of the song. It's just kind of a, generic boogie rock song cover, but again, great solo from Ronnie. And then the gem on side two, you have Rock Candy, which is a 5-minute barnstorming heavy rock song. Again, borderline heavy metal, released as a single, I believe. That's the best song on side two. One of the best songs on the album, but Rock Candy, just what a riff. Just a monster riff throughout that whole song. And Sammy Hagar, he just sells it. He's singing up a storm. He sounds great. He sounds energetic. He's just howling to the moon. Great song, Rock Candy. Check it out. And then to finish off side two and the album, you have One Thing on My Mind. Good song, has a nice little guitar lick, and then Make It Last to finish off the album, which is yet another heavy song with a great vocal from Sam Hagar. So just boom, boom, boom. Every song on the album, with the exception of the cover, is just a real heavy kind of just rock statement. There's no ballads. There's no radio-friendly poppy stuff. This is just a balls to the wall, hard, heavy album. And again, if you have not heard this album, please, please check it out. Montrose, self-titled, from 1973. This is featuring Sammy Hagar on vocals, his record debut on vocals. Again, 13 years before Van Halen. When he left this band after the next album, he went solo for, a number of years before Van Halen. I've not really listened to those albums. Honestly, don't really care to. I'm more of a band guy than a solo artist guy. But, and Ronnie Montrose played in Edgar Winter before this. He played on the song Frankenstein, and Yeah, so he was a session musician actually before this, but yeah, Ronnie Montrose, um, guitar player. Yeah, all that being said, you've heard me ramble enough, but bottom line is this is a great kind of underrated. I don't want to say underground. It's very well known. At the time that it was released, it was not received well, but I think over time, rock and metal fans have warmed to it and discovered it and know it for the gem and the masterpiece in the hard rock genre at that time that it really is. Just kind of ahead of its time by like 5 to 10 years, I think. It's really as heavy as anything that was coming out in the late 70s or early 80s in America. You know, it's certainly heavier than Journey and Boston and even even Aerosmith. It's as heavy as early Ted Nugent, if not heavier. So some of those kind of American bands that would come right after this, Van Halen. This is very much kind of, and you know, the blueprint for Van Halen one. I think they used to cover some of these songs. I read on Wikipedia in their early days, recording days before their debut in '78. Van Halen actually covered some of these songs, and there's you know live recording evidence of that. You know, Good Rockin' Tonight, Rock Candy, and you can hear that kind of American, um, kind of LA rock scene kind of starting here. This is kind of the blueprint for it, but in my opinion, done better than all those bands that kind of copied this framework. So yeah, don't have much else to say. Montrose, self-titled from '73. I give it a 95 out of 100. Is it perfect? That's arguable. I really love it. Probably not a top 10 album all time for me, but in the genre of hard '70s rock, it's certainly a top 10. I love it. Go out, buy it, listen to it on Spotify, buy a record, buy a vinyl, buy a CD, whatever. Listen to it on YouTube. Just a great album. Thank you for watching this album review.